How's it going, everybody? Ragaroth here. I think one thing we can say that 2020 still did it right was video games. With this year thankfully coming to an end, we have new video games to look forward to. Honestly, for me, right now at least, there aren't too much, which honestly with my backlog is sort of a good thing. But I figured I'd talk about the 6 games I am looking forward to the most, out of the ones we know. All 6 of them have been games I've talked about at least once in a video. I'd say I try to limit the one company to or franchise, but let's just say it's rather hard for the games coming out next year and what my interests tend to be. You'll see what I mean. So let's get this list started. Number 6. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster Western release. SMT3 Nocturne is one of my favorite RPGs ever. It also helped me get into the Persona games. Yeah, I'll admit, I mainly got it for Dante, but I stayed for the game and even still thought it looked cool even without Dante. It's weird because I randomly thought of this game coming to the Switch a little before the announcement. Now obviously it came out in Japan, but America, where I obviously live, hasn't gotten it yet. Should be coming spring, I think. Now the reason this is at the bottom of the list is, well, because it is just a remaster, and I have heard it's got some issues. Stability, they didn't fix the skill picking for fusing demons, and the music is still compressed. But all in all, I'm still really looking forward to it since I'll be able to play it portably. I'll still have Dante, will also be able to pick Rido, quick save, and easier difficulty, and English freaking dub, which I did not expect. Number 5. Guilty Gear Strive. I haven't talked much about Guilty Gear on my channel, but it is one of my favorite fighting games, so of course I'm pumped for it. Strive looks gorgeous and plays gorgeously, and I'm really excited for one of the new characters, Nagoriyuki. Hopefully I said that name right. The reason this isn't higher, though, is because, well, first of all, the roster. Jesus Christ, the roster. Very safe picks, only 15 at launch. And the one character that was missing from the X3rd games that's coming back is Angie freaking Mito. Like, really? I'm pretty sure there were more requested characters than him. Unless the 15th character is like Testament or like Raven or Justice, maybe that man, this roster is a pretty rough launch roster. I know there will be, I think, at least 5 DLC characters. I also don't know how to feel about them simplifying the game. Sure, I'm not a pro or competitive player, but I really like the more advanced kind of feel of the previous games. We also don't really have any details on the single player outside of the story mode, which is a bit worrying. However, don't quote me on this, but there's a rumor that the PS5 version may have tag mode. This would help a lot for me. And I know I'm kind of sounding like I'm being kind of hard on the game, but it is still Guilty Gear, and I'm still sure I'm going to like it. It's just I did expect a little bit more, but I do understand because of the pandemic. I think they had some issues with the online or lobbies they had to fix. I understand that, there had to be some costs to be made, but still, it is a pain. This game comes out in April. Number 4. Persona 5 Strikers, or Persona 5 Scramble, Western release. I know I kind of dropped off on talking about Persona stuff when this game came out in Japan. It's going to be a full year since it released in Japan when it comes to the West. I have heard basically nothing but good things about Persona 5 Strikers. I played both the Japanese PS4 and Switch demo and definitely enjoyed it. I only wish that Akechi and Kasumi could have joined the roster, and maybe the P3 and P4 protagonists. It's also a shame that the characters don't have their ultimate personas, as well as just no royal content in general. It's such a travesty that this game didn't get supported with post-launch content. This aside though, the game seems pretty fun and in depth, and it's just great to see what's next for the Phantom Thieves. And while I won't have Akechi, Zenkichi seems like a pretty cool fill-in at least. Number 3. Shin Megami Tensei 5. Remember when I said that a certain company or franchise will take over this list? Well, this is what I was referring to. 2021 will be a huge year for Atlus, mainly in the West. But SMT5 was one of the first games announced for the Switch, and it's been a huge silence since I think the end of 2017 or 2018? Many of us thought the game was maybe cancelled, but then the first Nintendo Partner Showcase, this was still the best thing that came out of those in my opinion, gave us a new trailer with at least a release window of 2021. I seriously can't wait to see what the new SMT has in store. I'm hoping it's like Nocturne, but with a bit of what they learned from SMT4. I don't know if I'm super crazy about the protagonist's design, at least compared to Demi-Fiend, Flynn, and Nanashi, but they don't look bad by any means, and it could improve with some demon plot stuff, or even be customizable. This honestly would probably be number 1 on my list, or at least number 2 if we actually saw some gameplay. Just please, please don't be first-person battles again. Number 2. No More Heroes 3. So this game was supposed to come out this year, but got delayed, I'm guessing, due to the pandemic. But I was super thrilled when we were getting another No More Heroes game. It's one of my favorite series, actually, and yes, it is the inspiration for the Robot Whisperer I use in my intros. I do admittedly have mixed feelings about the game focusing less on assassins and now on aliens, but I trust Suda to make it cool and interesting. I also love that the game basically looks graphically like the first CGI teaser of Travis fighting Helter Skelter way back in the day. Shows how far we've come. The gameplay from what little we've seen looks more like traditional No More Heroes, which is good, but looking at the HUD, it might actually take some aspects from Travis Strikes Again, which is cool admittedly. I don't want to talk too much about this game because I actually wanted to make a video talking about my hopes and wants for the game in the future. Sadly, this game will probably just make me more mad that Travis won't be playable in Smash Ultimate. That still hurts. Number 1. Gotham Knights. Yeah, I know, it's like the one game that isn't an anime-looking game on this list, right? But I really enjoyed the Batman Arkham games. They got me more into Batman and DC Comics. One thing that was becoming frustrating was how minimally used his sidekicks like Robin and Nightwing were used in the games. Even in the open world games where you'd think Batman would be relying less on himself to do everything. So this game has been a long time coming for myself. From what we've seen in the gameplay, it looks pretty good. It's not quite as free-flowy as the Arkham games, which is a bit disappointing, and the Mr. Freeze boss fight did look kinda repetitive. Though it probably didn't help that we're also kind of comparing it indirectly to the Arkham City boss fight with Mr. Freeze, and that was an amazing boss fight. But one of the reasons this game is number 1 is because we've actually at least seen substantial gameplay. Also, the reoccurring negative I had with a few games on this list was the roster. Well, despite this having a very small roster, I'm completely fine with it, because Red Hood and Nightwing are really the main 2 I need. Though I would have loved, I would love for it to grow over time, adding characters like Cassandra Cain and Azrael. Speaking of Red Hood, he usually gets the Virgil treatment in games and is usually DLC. It's nice to have him usable at launch for once, though I am disappointed he doesn't actually kill. But I guess as long as he fights like Red Hood, then whatever. People have been comparing this to the Avengers game. First of all, I actually don't really think the Avengers game is that bad. I mean, I don't love it, but I certainly don't hate it. I don't think it deserves the hate it's getting, but it definitely could be better. And I think the gameplay already looks a bit better than that game, and it's way more aesthetically nice looking than the Avengers, as well it already has 2 of my favorite comic characters, unlike the Avengers' current roster. I'm fine if this game comes out in late 2021, just so they can take their time and work on it as hard as they can, especially because this is made by WB Montreal, and the last game was Arkham Origins, and Arkham Origins was good, but I kind of feel like it would have been a bit better if maybe it wasn't sort of just, made just to sort of tide us over until the next Rocksteady game, which at the time was Arkham Knight. So that's it for my list. I have a feeling this list is probably going to be way different from a lot of others, and that's fine, this is just my opinion. This could also change as more games are announced. This is just what I think for right now. Let me know what you guys think. Tell me your most anticipated games for next year in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I also want to say thank you for all the more recent views and subscribes. Yeah, I get that it's mostly due to me listening to the Bury the Light every day video, which I know doesn't even really involve me, and it was a very quick video to make. But I'm just happy more people are watching and enjoying my videos. The channel growing and getting past the halfway point to monetization is one of the highlights for me in this rough year, so I'm super grateful. While I probably shouldn't say Happy New Year, I will say another time, another place. Keep being awesome.